Hello, happy TGI Friday and the Friday Fraud Law Review. Here we go. This was recently in July 2023. This one is interesting because this also spans a really long period of time, decades, long distant fraud. And interestingly, it also concerns a murderer. Lovely, right? Okay, so here we have the lovely gentleman, Johnny Lee Allen, 45 tender years of age. He had apparently fled his parole on a murder conviction and moved to Oregon and was ultimately sentenced to prison for using the stolen identities, et cetera, et cetera. So what happened was this, and by the way, this is in the District of Oregon, but apparently he moved around a lot. So I'm not going to really name a town. According to this Office of Inspector General reporting on this, and they got their information, it looks like from court documents, back in 1999, that's how old this is, Mr. Allen was convicted of second-degree murder in Douglas County, Nebraska. He was sentenced to somewhere between 35 and 50 years in prison. When he was released from Nebraska state custody in 2019, he took the choice of cutting off his electronic bracelet and he fled the state of Nebraska. A few months later, he's using stolen identity. Gosh, we're all at risk for that, right? Identity theft. And obtained a Wyoming identification card. I wonder why I didn't get a driver's license. Don't know. Maybe he didn't know how to drive, when you're in jail that long. In late August 2019, he showed up at a DMV, also in Oregon, in the lovely town of Gresham. And there he wanted to obtain, and he did obtain an Oregon ID card using that same stolen identity he had before. 2 months later, and it's still in 2019, he used the stolen identity a third time to apply finally for that Oregon driver's license. I'm guessing he took some lessons and got, skilled enough to think he could pass it. Anyway, look at that. 1999, he was convicted. Got out in April of 19, looks like. And then all of these identity thefts took place. So I guess really he wasn't doing all the crimes over the many decades. He was only in prison all that time. Okay. So apparently during this whole 2019 period, he's using the fraudulently obtained documents, IDs, for multiple firearms transactions. Also in 19, then he attempted to purchase a semi-automatic rifle, but canceled the transaction when the background check was delayed. I guess that made him nervous, huh? The next day, his girlfriend, or at least a woman he was dating, she purchased a .40 caliber pistol. And over the next several months, he loaned the pistol to 3 different pawn shops in exchange for cash. In November of 2020. So now we're in the following year. He tried to purchase a second firearm, but again, canceled the transaction rather than wait for the background check to be completed. Okay. In July of 2022, then he used his brother's identity to apply for a second Oregon driver's license. I guess he's thinking maybe he wouldn't have that delay and then get scared out, right? His second attempt at an Oregon license failed when he used the same address he had used to obtain the first, and his photo was flagged for potential fraud in the state's DMV system. Kudos for that. Same month, July 2022, he was finally charged by criminal complaint with Social Security fraud and aggravated identity theft. That's really not too bad. From like 2019 to 2022 to figure this out, the identity theft, and get all these pieces together, that's not so bad, in terms of length of time investigating. I mean, arguably. Remember, it was also during COVID. So under those circumstances, I think they were pretty fast. He was arrested in December this past in Oregon City, Oregon. That's a lovely area, those cities in Oregon are, isn't it? Some of them have a lot of criminals, apparently. Oh, during his arrest, law enforcement located and seized 4 different fraudulent pieces of ID on his person. And they were all obtained using the personal information from Mr. Allen's first identity theft victim. I'll tell you, that identity theft is frightening. I don't know if y'all have ever been stolen, had your identity stolen. I did, in a narrow sense. This is about 15 years ago when I was pregnant with my son, who was my second kid. And I noticed that I used to check my credit score. Now I really don't, not that often. And I saw that it had dropped, and here I was working so hard, and it had dropped kind of quickly. And so I decided to download it. And I saw that someone had taken a loan out for $8,000 from a large bank that happened to be on the West Coast where it occurred. I was on the East Coast, and obviously it wasn't me. It had an address that wasn't mine, blah, blah, blah. Apparently they never had to really see the person to give them the loan. Anyway, it took me, I want to say, 8 months of following the steps they do give you in terms of resolving it. I mean, you have to file this is back then now, so I don't know how much has changed. I had to file a police report, which was all done online because the local police really can't help you, or couldn't then. So it's all just for the purpose of documenting, I think, getting everything cohesively together, which I understand. And then filling out affidavits saying it wasn't me and this, that, and the other thing. And no, I never lived there. Like various things like that. I don't remember all the details. It's a long time ago. But it took, I want to guesstimate, if my memory serves, 8 months to wipe that off my credit. And I was aggravated. Because it takes a lot of putting papers together. Like I can imagine a lot of people who aren't really good with keeping papers and doing that kind of stuff. It could be a real, I don't know, maybe even impossible for some people. Anyway, I digress. Mr. Allen did plead guilty to a 2-count criminal information charging him with aggravated identity theft and making a false statement during the purchase of a firearm. Did we see what this sentence was? There something? Oh yeah, so he was sentenced, right? Did we say this before? To 51 months in federal prison. So he's getting over 4 years, and then I guess 3 years of supervised release. I don't know. Do you think that's enough? I don't know. You know what you're not supposed to do, and you didn't do it just once. You did. I don't know. I might be being biased here because of his prior murder conviction, which he did. Well, he didn't actually, serve his entire sentence because he ditched on, what was that thing? When he was released from custody, and it was supposed to be on the electronic monitoring bracelet. So he was in some sort of controlled state. He wasn't entirely a free man. So I don't know. What do you guys think? 51 months for doing all that identity theft? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure his priors helped keep that at least that high, because if it was his first offense, I bet you it would have been more of a smack on the wrist. But I don't know. Do you think that's enough? Is it too much? What do you think? Anyway, thanks for listening to the share. Talk to you later. Bye.